All right, everybody, welcome to the Scho-Zone. I am your host, Ryan Schofield. I feel like a hoe because I can see my A shirts. Now, we don't call those wife beaters anymore. That's not politically correct. But, anyways, welcome to Scho-Zone. Your host, Ryan Schofield, coming at you from my little virtual studio that I've put together here. Got David Eckstein live and visible. And I just want to put something else out there because last night's little recording that I had was pretty awful. There's a reason that you should not do drugs before you record something. I mean, not that marijuana is really a bad drug or anything, but it didn't really make much sense. I was just kind of ranting incoherently because the Cardinals do piss me off an awful lot. I didn't even have the right catcher in the game. I was yelling at Ivan Herrera. Pedro Pages was in the game. I don't know why, but that's just neither here nor there. Usually when your job is the catcher, you're supposed to catch something. And, I play softball. I sometimes play catcher because I can catch things. I'll probably be playing first base today, though, because I don't know. I can catch things. It's kind of important in that game. Anyways, not gonna really harp on too much about the Cardinals. I don't want to say they're not worth my time because my time's not that valuable. But yeah, they're just they'll just string me along a little bit. I might actually be able to go see them in Cincinnati. I'm not sure. Basically, because the Cardinals have taken my joy out of baseball, I've been doing a lot of traveling to see some ball games, and I feel like that that's at least some decent content. I mean, I watch videos of people going to see other ballparks, so maybe I could make it fun and interesting to be a you know single guy that travels the country watching baseball games. I mean, seems like I have people that enjoy the fact that I do this. I'm enjoying it myself. I just put the finishing touches on a trip. There's nothing like a good plan finally coming together. And when you take your time with these things, you can finally understand how they work and get the best options. So I had originally planned way back when I was just going to go to Milwaukee to see the Brewers because they were just a cheap flight. And then I realized, well, okay, well, when you're in Milwaukee, you're not very far from Chicago. Looked down, saw that only the White Sox were in town. Don't really care to see the White Sox again. But then I saw, oh, wait, they're playing the Dodgers. Get a chance to see Shohei Ohtani again and all the other All Stars that are on the Dodgers. So because I went into it with that thinking, then you had the whole logistics of how the flights worked out. And then I realized, no, 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 no. Let's do this completely differently. Like all of a sudden, it just hit me this morning. I had my eureka moment that I was going to fly into Chicago because here's this thing I discovered when I researched the areas that I'm going to. Wisconsin might not be the place for me. Basically, it seems like if you don't drink beer, it's not really much to do. I don't drink beer anymore. Uh, Gonna probably try to spend as minimal time out because I might feel the inclination to show people in Milwaukee how much better I am at drinking beer than them. Or maybe they are better. Maybe I'm off my game. Maybe I was never as good as I thought I was. I don't know if they'll let me do an NA chug against somebody, maybe, or if they even serve NAs in Milwaukee. Am I going to get laughed out of the bar when I ask for an NA? Because I'm going to have one, or I'm going to try to have one. I'll be wearing my Cardinals gear too, so I don't plan on making too many friends. But hey, I always like to ruffle feathers wherever I go, make my mark, let people know where I was. Always leave an impact somewhere. And if it could be a good one, that's even better. That's what I would mostly like to go for. But I'm going to fly into Chicago because it's all kind of just fell together that the flight into Chicago gets there enough earlier. I get to Chicago, then I found a hotel, which this is going to be a funny part of the trip, I'm sure. Probably be doing a little bit of supernatural on this trip, I guess. Uh, well, we'll see how the dispensaries are, see how supernatural things get. Yeah, but I realized that, I'm going to get into Illinois, going to get there like 10 o'clock in the morning. Couple options of how to get from the airport. The train's the cheapest, but takes the longest. We'll see. But then from the train station that is there, I'm not too far away from my hotel, also not too far away from the dispensary. I have a little bit of time to kill before I get to my hotel, before I can check in. Kind of conveniently timed all this out. Might have the place in mind we're going to go to acquire my party favors, which I will surely consume all of before I get to the fine state of Wisconsin, where marijuana and mobile wagering are not legal activities. Which, yeah, always do your homework before you pick a spot to go to. Because at one point, I was almost thinking of doing 2 days in Milwaukee. That sounds like a jail sentence. But anyways, then I can get to my hotel. So looking around, I was like, okay, wow, hotels in Chicago, probably want to stay in a good part of town. I've heard some things about the South Side, seen some videos, but obviously most of those places you can pretty much spot. Don't go there. Don't think they're usually the types of places that have hotels. But I was looking and like as far as a decent distance, really close to the train line that gets you to the game, I found this place called the Congress Plaza Hotel. And I read some of the reviews and people are pretty petty in their reviews. Like someone said the pillows were small. If the dispensary is any good, if you give me a fucking spot on the floor, I'll be totally okay. Plus, I don't want to necessarily have to get the greatest night of sleep. I want to get enough sleep to be able to wake up the next day to proceed my travels, but I don't need to exactly be zonked out in the most luxurious state. I'm not really hard to pamper. It's part of one of the benefits of living like a fucking total mess is that, just kind of common decency becomes a pretty much luxurious behavior sometimes. So I will be staying at this place. I looked it up afterwards just to kind of get an idea. Hey, because YouTube's awesome. People go on trips. They can film what's in the surrounding areas, be little travel guides, get views, educate people like me. Maybe I can post them out there. People can like and subscribe. If you do, appreciate that. If you already have been, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. But then I can look around. The hotel that I'm staying at is basically regarded as one of the most haunted places in all of Chicago. It's got a real, when I was looking at some of the, just walkarounds, it has a real overlook hotel like vibe to it. All kinds of crazy stories like Nazi stuff, suicides, wild stuff. Apparently, room 441 is where all the action goes down. Apparently, there's a woman that'll just wake you up by shaking your leg. Sounds like a good time to me. So I look at this as that, hey, with all the demons I've been battling for most of the years on this earth, I've been prepared for fucking battle. Bring it on. What do you got? I used to hang out in the Pinewood Cemetery in Troy, New York for a place to hang out. So look that one up and tell me if I'm equipped for this one. And yeah, for like $150 in Chicago when most places are going for like 400. Yeah, sign me the fuck up. Which also I have found in booking the flights. I track these a lot. I always thought that Tuesdays were the cheapest days. I actually almost didn't book this trip because what I did, because I'm going to have a little bit of a traveling habit, got the interest-free credit card with some travel rewards on it. And, I had to wait to get it. And I thought I missed the window of the best possible flight prices. But no, it turns out that Wednesdays was where things really go. So, gonna get the Wednesday morning flight. Then I'm gonna go to do the White Sox game. From what I gather, though, the White Sox game, you just get right on the train and go right to where you're going afterwards. As far as you don't really want to walk around the ballpark too much afterwards, but maybe I'll feel adventurous. But no, it's like 3 miles, so I don't want to fuck around with that. Not really sure if I'm gonna want to do a deep dish pizza. It seems awfully touristy, and also I just don't really know how the rest of my day is gonna go if I eat a deep dish pizza and if I get one and I don't finish it, it's not like it's going to taste good later. It's not going to, leave it in my hotel. We'll see. I'm sure that, the nightlife will be, decent there, but I'm not probably going to partake too much into it. But, hey, this is my whole thing of that. I'm letting people know where I'm going to be because this is going to be June 24th. If I have enough viewers that somebody hates me enough to do something, then that is a fucking good sign for this guy. But if you just want to hang out and you happen to be in the area, Scho-Zone at the Scho-Zone podcast or the Scho-Zone podcast at gmail.com. You can email me or you can always hit me up at my social medias, SCHO525. That's on Instagram and X, formerly known as Twitter. I fucking practically gave my cell phone number for all I give a shit if you actually really reached out to me. All right. So then I get the next day because, the whole thing is with being in the travels is that, I'm doing this where I can travel with just a backpack because I don't want to be walking around with a suitcase. I'm already probably going to look pretty touristy, but I don't want to be walking around wheeling around something. So just having a backpack because it's summertime. So just shorts and t-shirts that can cover most everything. Gonna then be able to because you have the windows of what times you can check in and check out of places. So I kind of aimed it out perfectly that I am going to check out of my hotel in Chicago, which is about a mile from the train station there, then hit up the train station to get to Milwaukee, about an hour and a half before I can check into my hotel there, recharge the batteries, probably literally on my cell phone because my battery life will probably be killing me for all the stuff I'm going to be recording and posting and all that shit. And then also physically recharge a little bit, then get to the ballpark. Now, the reason that I liked the idea of leaving Milwaukee is that I get a later fly out time. And also it's much easier to get to the airport in Milwaukee from where I'd be staying than it was going to be in Chicago. Chicago, the South, it doesn't seem like that the White Sox are too appreciated. They're kind of really on the outskirts of town, not in the best parts of town, and also much further away from O'Hare Airport, which is the primary airport to get out of there. So I will get out of Milwaukee and then I'll make it back to Albany sometime in the afternoon. That's 2 ballparks, 2 days, 2 planes, 1 train, or two different, flight patterns. I mean, there's be some different layovers in there. Also, that was the better part too. Flying into Milwaukee, I was going to have longer layovers. So yeah, it seems to have worked out. So that part's going good. So I look forward to posting some content on there and getting any any wonderful feedback and following and views that happen from that. Then I have my July plans kind of carved out a little bit because little breaks here and there between work. Got to recharge the cash funds, recharge the batteries. As far as I'd imagine driving in your car doing this every day, it does wear on you a little bit. I would love to find out to have the possibility to, but until I hit the lottery, so to speak, or just figure out something better to do with my life, I'll continue to sell furniture 5 days a week, use the occasional vacation day to go take ball games, or try to find the 1 day trips. I do have a 1 day trip for September. I'm kind of loosely eyeing up there, but July looks like we're going to be making the trip to that. I've never been to the new Yankee Stadium. I can do a day game there. They're playing the Rays on a Monday. I believe that's like the 22nd. Then following that, on the 24th, I have ties to Rochester, New York. So that makes it a little more feasible where I can stay in Rochester on Tuesday night and then also then travel from Rochester to Pittsburgh and back for a day game where the Cardinals are going to be on a Wednesday. Get back there. Then the following week, I can go down to Baltimore. Baltimore, I think, is playing the Blue Jays. They're playing a doubleheader. They have a 5 game set against the Blue Jays that week. So I have multiple opportunities as to which day I want to see them, or a couple day games and a night game, or like a mid twilight night game. So can get those ones down. So got a couple of ballparks for there. The day trip that I've mapped out, I think it's a good winner. This is just one where I have to kind of I might just have to book like the flight protection type thing just because I might be able to get a good rates, but this is where you start running into the weather thing. But Cincinnati is probably, I would say, the best airport to accomplish doing the single day trip ball game if possible. I was just looking at it right now. It's not even that expensive. It's like $250, which shit, when I'm driving to games between parking and the gas and the tolls and all that shit, I'm probably doing about half of that anyways, maybe even a little bit more than half of that. This one is just a lot more quicker and convenient. Cincinnati's airport is very, very close to their ballpark. I would say that the ballpark, I've only driven past there before. I haven't been to a game there. It's like right on the border of Kentucky. Cincinnati's airport is actually in Kentucky. I remember when I went there, it's basically you drive across a bridge, or you drive through. There's the Bengals Stadium, there's the Red Stadium, and then there's a bridge, and then it's Welcome to Kentucky. It's only about 25 minutes there. So the way that it works is that I have a flight that I eyed out that would arrive at like 10 o'clock, and the Cardinals, or not the Cardinals, they play the Cubs that day, I want to say. It doesn't matter who they play really, but they really play the Astros. They play the Astros. That's right. I can arrive there, get there at around like 10 o'clock in the morning. Game starts at around like 1 o'clock. So the airport's only like about like a 25-minute ride, sacrifice a little bit of time. I don't even have to pack a fucking book bag. I'm probably going to look like a weirdo getting on the airplane because I'm just going to be walking in just my street clothes. Don't need to pack a single thing. Then I can just get dropped off somewhere near the stadium. I know it's not the best neighborhood, but hang around for a little bit, check out the ball game, and then I can fly out of there. I was looking at it. The flights out are like a little bit in the evening time. Long story short of this, I would leave Albany at like 5:30 in the afternoon or in the morning, and I'd be home at before midnight. So that's a ball game there. So I'm gonna have a couple more ballparks because I just said with the trips I just mentioned there, the Miller Park's going to be, or it's not Miller, it's Great American Field, but I'm going to be one of those old guys that's going to call things the wrong ballpark. I mean, I guess that Chicago's called Guaranteed Rate Field. I actually remembered it was US Cellular, but I'm probably not going to make the mistake of calling it Comiskey in Chicago because someone tells me they're probably not too fond of it. But that's what it is to me, Comiskey. Then Cincinnati's Great American Ballpark. I mean, I'm not going to confuse it with River Pond Stadium, but that would be 3 more ballparks on the list. Yankee Stadium. I mean, I was at the old stadium, so I'm like, all right, I've been to a Yankee game before. That'll be a new one. Camden, I have actually never seen a game in. I've just been through my travels through Raven Stadium, but looking forward to that. I mean, obviously, one thing I will say about traveling to different cities for Baltimore is that when you go to different cities, they might have unique food items, but it's usually you can get that stuff better other places. When you go to Philly, yes, the cheesesteak isn't made there. I'm sure that if you go into the deep holes of it, you can find the best cheesesteaks, but you can get a good cheesesteak in other parts of the country. Chicago, I'm sure the same with deep dish pizza. It's just probably the novelty. From what I understand, they do tavern style pizza mostly. Milwaukee, bratwursts, cheese curds, I'm sure, but when you're in Maryland, a Baltimore crab cake is kind of a different thing because the crab was probably caught just in the harbor that day or pretty recently. But yeah, looking forward to get the little tours out there, having something to post at you. Basically anything to just kind of not think about the Cardinals, even though I am going to one of those games. But this is a little bit better than the thing I put out there last night, and I just feel a little better if I'm going to try to gain some traction there. Haven't gained a subscriber yet this week, so if somebody wants to, maybe we start having referral bonuses on here. I'm almost near that magical mark of 50. I feel like that if I put enough good stuff out there, and come football season, it's a little easier to put out daily content because more people care about football for whatever reason. And maybe I'll have my shit together a little more by then. But thank you for tuning in. This is Riff Raff. I'm going to be going off to softball, playing for my lovely team. Show me your hits. That's right. Sco 10. Hopefully batting third, playing first base. Basically sounds a lot better than I really am. But now, if anybody needs a slap hitting lefty guy out there, I'm more than happy to join your services. If you want to help me relocate to a different spot in the South or somewhere where it's warm and not as expensive as New York, I can sell ice to an Eskimo. And yeah, I like to think I'm a good clubhouse guy. Anyways, thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and share if you think of it. Thank you.